Hi, I'm Anil Gupta. I'm a field engineer at Imply. Imply enables real-time self-service analytics at scale to our customers. Now, before I dig deeper into Imply, I want to ask you a question. If you're looking to do some research, where do you start? A library with a bunch of books or Google? If you're like me, you use Google. Why do you use Google? It's fast. It's really fast. It's really fast. It's really fast and it's flexible. Once I get my first question answered, invariably I end up with additional questions, and I can do those follow-up questions right there in Google. Now this has huge value to me. It makes me a lot more productive. Now, why is this relevant? Imply is a fast analytics platform powered by Apache Druid. Imply and its underlying engine, which is Druid, support fast data ingest and fast data querying. Users get to work with up to the millisecond data, and they enjoy query response times of milliseconds to seconds. That means they're more productive, they have a much better user experience, and they're happier. Druid is a high-performance columnar database engine. Druid's creators founded Imply to combine Druid with powerful visualization, management, monitoring, and security capabilities. Imply is meant for hot data use cases. These use cases are generally characterized by the need to ingest data, potentially at very high scale, very fast. Twitter's MoPub subsidiary ingests over 100 billion events a day, or over 1.1 million events per second. These events give mobile app publishers and developers visibility into advertising bids, clicks, and views, all in real time, so they can make decisions on advertising strategy. It gives companies placing ads the ability to review ad performance and make changes on the fly. Data can come in via streams like Kafka or Kinesis, or it can be ingested in batch from S3, Google Cloud Storage, Hadoop, Azure Data Lake, and other locations. Now, we all want our questions to be answered fast. Druid is purpose-built for fast queries. We ran the star schema benchmark this year and found that Druid was up to 14 times faster than BigQuery, which itself is one of the fastest cloud data platforms. A third party ran a benchmark in 2019 and found Druid to be about 50 times faster than Presto and Hive. How much happier would your users be if their queries came back in a third of the time, a 14th of the time, or a 50th of the time? Not to mention, they'd also be a lot more productive. Let me tell you a little bit about our company's background. Imply was founded in 2015 with funding from Andreessen Horowitz, Geodesic Capital, and Coastal Ventures. We're headquartered in the Bay Area, and we have employees across the Americas, EMEA, and APAC. Our customers are global and run across many verticals. Some key customers include Amazon, Apple, Atlassian, Twitter, Visa, Walmart, and more. Our technology is a full-stack real-time data platform, and the engine of this platform is Apache Druid. We serve a variety of use cases across industries. For example, retailers use Druid to make sure that there aren't any anomalies that would suggest an issue in a store, on a website, or in the supply chain. Banks like DBC use Imply to combat fraud by feeding ML tools from Imply and enabling end users to analyze data within seconds so they can decide whether to let a transaction go forward or not. Network operators like NTT use Imply to monitor their networks and be alerted on issues that need to be fixed. Large manufacturers use Imply to monitor defect rates so they can take action as quickly as possible when anomalies occur. Imply serves a number of customers across industries, from small startups to large enterprises. In retail, we serve Apple, Amazon, Walmart, Overstock, and Instacart. Other major industries and companies like Cisco, Visa, and Sony are also using Imply to make their organizations more intelligent. The Imply real-time data platform enables a level of speed and scale that's a game changer for our customers. Enabling sub-second response times requires a new, unique set of building blocks. We start with the data sources at the bottom, including data lakes, message buses, and data warehouses. We have point-and-click connectors that enable you to start loading data immediately and create ongoing data loading tasks. Our data engine, Druid, is designed for fast investigation of data, not just for reporting. Whether the data just came in milliseconds ago via a stream or is from 2 years ago, the users get millisecond to second response times. We've purpose-built an interactive data explorer called Pivot to work well with this low-latency, high-skill data engine. Users can have a conversation with their data. Once their first question is answered, they can quickly dig deeper to answer the next 10. They can also create real-time alerts that go to Slack, email, or wherever else they need to be consumed. Pivot's Explain feature enables users to automatically get insights on very low-level data. We've built a management, monitoring, and security capability set to make the system very easy to manage and scale for the enterprise. Imply Manager makes managing the environment a simple, low-overhead job. Clarity helps you guarantee that your users are getting the user experience they need by helping you understand and troubleshoot any system performance issues. Since there are a number of retailers at today's conference, I'm going to do a deeper dive on retail use cases for analyzing hot data and also demo such a use case. Hot data is relevant in a number of use cases in brick and mortar retail as well as e-commerce. A retailer might want to quickly identify suspicious transactions, perform A/B testing before updating their websites, be on the lookout for anomalies in sales that might indicate website errors, analyze the impact of pricing changes, and understand the customer journey. For a well-known Fortune 100 retailer, Imply makes it possible for the procurement team to slice and dice sales data in real time while talking to suppliers. The procurement team can quickly make decisions to assist in any negotiations, leading to substantial savings. For this retailer, that was over $200 million. The retailer tested the same queries in Google BigQuery and found that Imply ran the queries in 5 to 10 times faster, making employees more productive and more satisfied. Finally, the retailer had a goal to move to another cloud offering. Imply support of different clouds made this migration easy. Let's go ahead and take a look at Imply in action. In this demo, we have supply chain messages coming from a fictional retailer via Kafka into Imply. We're initially going to focus on Imply Pivot, Imply's ad hoc self-service interface where users can essentially have a conversation with their data. Then we'll look at Imply Manager and Imply Clarity. Manager enables Imply customers to manage the environment, for instance, scale it, configure it, as well as upgrade it with minimal overhead. Clarity enables you to make sure your end users are getting the best possible user experience. So let's go ahead and switch to the product. This is Imply Pivot. Once again, it Imply's end user ad hoc interface. At the left, I have dimensions. I can drag these dimensions onto my canvas in order to group or filter my data. If I want to filter my data, I simply add it to this filter pane. If I want to show it on my canvas, I can drag it to the show area or just right on the canvas. Now, you may have noticed that the results came back instantly. Pivot is purpose-built for super fast analytics. It allows an end user to answer their business question and then ask the next question very quickly. Now at the right, I have an ability to select the visualization that I'm interested in. By default, Pivot will select the visualization that makes most sense for the data that's being shown, but you can also change that and select another visualization And we support the typical visualizations that you would expect. At the top right, I can compare this data to data from the prior period, in this case, the prior day after yesterday. And I can also change it to compare my data to a week back, a month back, and so on. I can also change the metric that I'm looking at. In this case, I'm interested in shipping costs. With COVID, it's very important to get a handle on all sorts of costs, and shipping costs are no exception. I want to make sure that those costs are within line and optimized where possible. Finally, if I wish, I can add a dimension right here to the right and then filter on the values of the dimension by just simply clicking on them. All right, so I'm interested in Han because it's the highest single manufacturer in terms of shipping costs, and the shipping costs have been going up. So I'll go ahead and filter on Han, either by clicking to the right as I did before, or selecting Han and hitting select. Now I'm interested on how the data breaks out by country. Now, every now and then, this interface will actually update itself with the latest and greatest data. Data is constantly streaming in to Druid, and the pivot users benefit from that latest and greatest data. I can actually change the auto update frequency, currently set at a minute, to something lower, like every 5 seconds. Alternatively, I can manually trigger an update. All right, so looking at the countries, I can see that the US is my highest single country in terms of shipping costs, and that's understandable because it's my biggest market. I can also see that the other countries with high shipping costs tend to be large countries until I get to El Salvador. El Salvador is certainly smaller in terms of a market than Germany and the UK, but it has higher shipping costs, and I want to know why. So I'm going to go ahead and click on El Salvador. And at this point, I could hit select to filter, but I'm going to hit this explain button. And what explain does is it introspects my data and quickly gives me drivers of the data that I see. In this case, it's shipping costs. And here I can see that Sonsonate is driving my high shipping costs. I'm going to go ahead and filter on this value, Sonsonate, to learn more. And I'm interested in knowing the shipping costs not only for Han, but also for all my manufacturers. So I'm going to remove the filter on Han. And I see that all my manufacturers seem to have a relatively high shipping cost for this city. Now, one thing I might want to figure out now is why shipping costs are high. Maybe I want to call a district manager in the area and try to figure out if there's a good reason why shipping costs are high. Is it just because of the contracts we've written? Is it something to do with the transportation that we've chosen? Is there fraud? That's something I need to find out. In addition to that, I want to monitor the shipping costs to make sure that they move in the direction I want them to. So here, I can now add them to a dashboard. And we support very interactive dashboards that you've probably come to expect from BI tools. And I'm not going to save this right now. The other thing I can do is set up an alert. Now, you'll see that I'm filtered on the latest day and Sonsonate as a city. When I set up an alert, all those filters drop to this alert configuration. And what I can do then is filter on the change from the prior period, the delta, or the actual value. We don't have to include a comparison. And the previewing the alert tells me how many times the alert would have been triggered in the past week. I can check for this alert as often as I want, every day, even every few minutes. And in terms of delivery options, I can send a webhook. So we have an out-of-the-box integration with Slack where you can have the alert go to Slack in terms of Slack messages. or we could also send emails. So very quickly, what I've done is been able to start at a high level, start with my manufacturers, see a manufacturer that I'm interested in, and then slice and dice my data. The response times uniquely are coming back very, very fast within milliseconds. And that allows me to be highly productive and essentially ask the follow-up questions very quickly. So we've looked at Pivot, which is Imply's end user interface. You can, of course, use any end user interface you wish with Imply. A lot of our customers use Tableau, Looker, and other BI tools. Some customers deliver reports that come from Imply's data to their own customers via a custom UI, such as one built with React or another web framework. Even if you're not using Imply Pivot, Imply has a lot of value to add to your real-time data and fast analytic needs. So here are two examples. One is Imply Manager. And Imply Manager allows you to watch the health of your cluster and also make changes to your cluster. So for instance, here I can see that I have 3 data servers, 2 query servers, and 3 master servers. You don't have to necessarily worry about right now what all that means. The key thing to note is that I can, with no downtime and just a couple clicks, upgrade to another version of Imply. Imply will take care of all the background work necessary to update your entire cluster. If you're using Imply Cloud, you can also do things like change your instance types and change your instance counts. So not only can you upgrade your environment, you can also scale it, all without any downtime whatsoever. There are also a number of configurations you can apply when using Imply. And in this case, by the way, we have an AWS S3 deployment. And you can add those configurations right here. It's very, very straightforward to manage the environment from here. Further, you can go ahead and check the health of your servers, view server logs, restart individual servers, and make sure everything's running smoothly. Now, that's the management aspect. What about monitoring? You're working with the fastest analytic database in the world, and you want to make sure that your users are getting fast query speeds. Imply Clarity helps you understand and assure that your end users are getting the best user experience possible. So for instance, I can take a look at slow queries and understand what's going on with them, right? You know, my query IDs, if I select particular slow queries, and this is using the same pivot interface, so it should feel very similar, I can see that my slow queries come from the campaign tracking and banking transaction data sources. You can think of these as tables. So there might be some optimization that I need to do there. I can also take a look at my historical queries, my real-time queries, and I can zoom into them like you see here. Now, there's more. Imply and Druid are multi-layer architectures. They're query servers, they're master servers, and they're data nodes. If there are performance issues, you're going to be able to use the information clarity to isolate them to one of those layers and direct your troubleshooting. It might be that with growth in your environment, you've actually exceeded the capacity of your query nodes or your data nodes and have to increase the capacity in those areas. Of course, you can do that all with Imply Manager. But the bottom line is that clarity essentially gives you the visibility you need to make sure that your environment is running optimally. Let's go back to our slides. So we've taken a look at Imply Pivot, Manager, and Clarity, and we've talked about a number of use cases for Imply in general and fast analytics on hot data in particular. The next thing to do is get started. If you go to imply.io, get started, you'll be able to download a full copy of Imply and install it in your environment and get going. Using simple wizards, you can quickly point to data streams such as Kafka or Kinesis, or import data from batch systems such as object storage like S3, Azure Blob Storage, or Google Cloud Storage. At any rate, whatever your use case, it's very easy to get started using Imply. Thank you so much for your time. Now I'm ready to answer any questions you might have.